Welcome to my channel, The African Setting, where we explore Africa. A gratitude to everyone that is watching us from different parts of the world and the time that you put in to explore with me, Africa. I'm really humbled to host you even in today's episode. We are going to discuss African culture. We have different persons' perceptions of culture. What do they think culture is and what could culture be? So we are going to be discussing the values of African culture, the religious value, the social value, the economic value, and more other values. We are going also to look at the two specifications of culture, the material culture and the non-material culture. So if it is your first time to view us, I request you hit the subscription button, you subscribe, and also the notification bell, so that wherever we upload a video, you are informed and you come and explore with me, Africa. Yes, today we're gonna discuss about culture. What is culture? I pose that question to you, that what is culture? Oh, wherever the word culture comes in your mind, what comes in your mind? Yeah? Wherever the word culture comes in your mind, what comes in your mind to answer the word culture? So as I told you that we managed to go out and ask different people, what do they think culture is, or what could culture be? Someone said that culture includes the morals, the beliefs, and the norms of a certain group of people that distinguishes them from the other. That was someone's perception. That the morals, the norms, and the beliefs of a certain society that differentiates them from the other would have been culture. And I could also say that culture is the totality of the moral, the beliefs, the norms, the artwork, dancing skills, and the creativity of a certain group of people that differentiates them from the others. Now, I want to give you a certain example of the Maasai in East Africa. The Maasai, they have that the jumping skill in the dance. It makes the Maasai unique from the other cultures in Africa. Now, when you go to Uganda, there is a kingdom called the Buganda Kingdom. Women kneel down while greeting men. Even though he's just a young man of 18, women kneel down to greet a man as a sign of respect to the masculine side. So, when someone comes out and say that the norms, the beliefs, the morals of a particular group of people that differentiates them from the others, might be right. I don't know your perception, and I request, if you have a different perception from that, may you please comment it in the comment section, so that we can also learn and continue on going on to learn and learn and learn and learn. So, and someone also said that culture are the inherited traits of a certain group of people that distinguishes them from others. I want to make a line or to make a statement that culture is not taught, culture is caught. Am I right? Culture is not taught, culture is caught. So when someone comes in and says that the traits that are inherited from generation to generation, someone also might be right. And there is no culture without a society. If there is no a certain group of people, then culture does not exist. If there is no a certain group of people, then culture does not exist. As so, there are no persons on planet Earth that don't have culture. And the group of people that are mainly the Western that say that have a saying that Africans are primitive, they just want to show us that we don't have history. Yet Africa has history. Africa is the mother continent. It is said that it is where manhood started. So when we are talking about culture and African culture, we are talking about a broad topic that even may require 3-4 more episodes to talk about just culture. To explain more what culture is, those inheritable traits. Culture traverses as life moves on, because now in those early years, cutting was a use of stone. Yeah, they could make stones, and they could use to peel off the skin of animals. But to date, there are machines in the Western world whereby the cow enters in and everything is separated. Now culture goes on transforming as also people transform. In the early years, making fire was just someone getting a piece of wood, then chopping it around like this so that it forms heat, and hence fire. In the early ages, people could crack stones until fire is done, but now we have the matchbox system. Fire is now people are cooking on using electric power. We are using in some parts of the world they use nuclear power. We use gas to prepare something at home. So culture transforms as also people are transformed. I want also to make another statement that culture is not taught, culture is just caught. Back to the other inherent statement that culture is that inherent traits of a certain group of people that distinguishes them from the other. Culture, someone also said that culture is the totality of behavior, morals, manners, dancing codes, and of a certain society that distinguishes them from the other. I gave you an example of the Maasai. The high jumps of the youth, the males, wherever they jump high, it makes, in that culture, it looks wow to women. It is a form of seduction to women when a man jumps high. That is their culture. When you go to other parts of the world, like the Yoruba, the Yoruba culture in the Western Africa, you will see that their uniqueness is among their metal work. The way they carve the woods makes them more different from other societies. Now in the Zulu, there is the reed dance. Makes them very, very, very unique from other cultures. Me, one time I thought that I could go around town and look at people moving around, and what came at the back of my mind that every person that I'm seeing has a relative, has a family, has a place where to go. So wherever we move on and move on and move on and move on, you'll go back and find out your culture, what comes around, what everything, and that's all. That's all about culture. Any other thing that you have that you can add on or supplement or complement, put it in the comment section so that we can go on learning and learning and learning and learning about culture. Now, I'm going into the specifications, the different specifications of culture. We have two main specifications of culture. We have the material culture and the non-material culture. Now, the material culture consists of that artwork, the aestheticism of a certain group of people that also distinguishes them from the others. Now, as I told you, the reed dance among the Zulu, you will see that female put on reeds that are made in a good formwork, which looks very bright and it is unique. So comes back to the Yoruba in the western part of Africa, mainly Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Benin. The way they mold their work in the wood form, it makes them unique. Then that is the part of the material culture, the total uniqueness in the materials that also people use in the day-to-day survival. Now we have come into centuries where we came from digging using hoes. Now it has changed. People are using tractors. People are using machinery for every work, from plowing, planting, the weeding, everything. Everything now people are using machines to do. But in those early ages, a hoe from dawn to dawn. Hoe. Now that is how the material culture. Now the main core value of culture is the non-material culture. The non-material culture consists of the norms, the beliefs, the morals. What does that certain group of people believe in? In Africa here, before we had the Western religions, we had our African gods. Yes, those ancestral spirits that we believe in. It is also said that among the Zulu in South Africa, there is still that specification of believing in their ancestors, and it is still moving on. So now, the morals, the way of life, how do these people treat one another? How is a man respected in the family? How is a woman handled in the family? How are the children groomed from the birthhood to the elderly stature? Now, the non-material culture is more of value than the material culture. The material culture consists of the artwork, the creativity of a certain group of people that differentiates them from others, and the non-material, the beliefs, the norms, and the ways of living in the society. And now, the other statement I want to make is that culture is not static. Yes, culture is not static. If culture could be static, then we could have now been still in the early ages. Am I clear? Culture is not static. That it should be like this from today, forever, it should be like that. No. Culture should keep on moving, should keep on changing as people's way of lives change. Now, technology is it is now a culture. Yes. Why? Because it also changes. Remember those times where we could have the TV monitors with with that big thing behind. Now we have flat screens. That is how culture goes on traversing. The other Nokia big phone, the Sony Ericsson that had the aerial. Now we are having smartphones. We have even phones that flip, that fold. But in those early ages, the technology had not yet developed to that level. So, culture is not static. Culture should move, should continue changing, move on changing as people also go on changing, because people are diverse in their works, in their patterns, the social behavior. The social behavior has changed. In the early ages, here in Africa, women couldn't eat eggs. Women were not allowed to eat eggs. Women were not allowed to drink milk. Women were not allowed to eat chicken. Yes, but as ages traverse, gender equality came in. Now women go out and work. Women have their money. Women eat chicken. You go out in a restaurant in some parts of Ethiopia, you find women eating chicken, the whole part of it. But in those ages, they were not allowed to. Women have money, but but in those ages, the men were the fountain of honors in the family. Now that takes me to the other statement. Culture should go on traversing as people also change. You've reached this level. I thank you very much for the time that you've put into view what we have today in this episode, as we are going on to talk about culture. Now, I want to talk about the dressing codes. Dressing codes vary according to the specific group. When you go to East Africa, you'll find that women, specifically, let me talk about now Uganda. People put on females put on longer clothing, Gomesi, the Mishanana for the Westerners, and to cover their whole body. But when you go to some parts of the world, you find that it is okay for someone to put on. In the other areas, you'll find that they have their tone. How to make these clothings, and they differ in a material and a design. When they look at a design, they say no, that design, even if it may look good to a man, but according to the design, it is made for females. The dancing strokes. There are some dancing strokes, like I told you of the Maasai, the high jump. You cannot tell women to high jump like that. A man will step down and up. That uniqueness. The cuisines also come in. Culture. The cuisines. People cook different dishes. You might find that sauce remains meat or beef, but what are the recipes? The spices differ. The norms, the taboos. Yes, the taboos. What does it? What comes? And by the way, culture is also selective of what it absorbs, what it adapts from a certain group of people that comes in. I'll tell you that when you look at the western part of the world, the Europeans, those people, the whites, they have their code of dressing during the summer. Here you find them, a woman putting on a bikini, and it's okay. But here in Africa, you can't just walk around the streets putting on like that. That shows that a culture is selective of what it absorbs. But as people traverse, as people diverse, things are going also the other way around in some parts of the world, some parts of Africa, some parts of what. People are getting material from Africa, dropping into the Europeans, and the Europeans embrace it with a very good heart. So for that, gratitude, the different values of culture. Now, culture, having looked at the whole concept of culture, what does culture mean? Discussing the differences in cultures, to look at the values of culture. Now, we have the social value. The social value consists of the beliefs, or at times may be ceremonies, that either are performed by individuals on a routine or occasionally. Here, how does a certain group of people associate in their community? I.e., in Africa here, in those areas, mainly in East Africa, it is where I see it that you'll find that elders could sit in the middle, will put fire, the light fire. Elders sit in the middle, then the children sit around them, and they start teaching them the way of life. How should a man handle the way of life? What are men supposed to do? The elders could do it in that way. Even when you go to the western part of Africa, it is done in the same way. Boys come together with the father or the grandfather. They sit around, then the mosaic starts teaching them from A to Z. A man goes out and hunts for his family, caters for the family, does like this. You go and you manage the family A to Z. And also the same to the girls, sit with the grandmas, the mothers, the aunties, and also teach them. Now, in some parts of Nigeria, when a bride is yet to get that, when it is yet time for the ceremony, is kept in a room, catered for. They smear butter. They smear to mold her, to keep her for the man that is also the man is catered for, told, so that when the ceremony comes in, everyone looks, wow, Now it comes in when everything is done, and you see. But back to the social life, yeah. The social value. How does a certain group of people come in to connect, to bring themselves together? What is that thing that socializes them? Hmm? People, it is still here, as I told you back, that culture traverses. Now, in those days, there is here a beer in East Africa called Mukombot. I know much of you have heard of it, whereby the elderly people sit down, they put a small pot, and everyone has got a straw. That is how it was done. And nowadays, people are tossing bottles and glasses. One will buy a bottle of Belea, a pour wine glass for me, for the other, for the other, for the other. Then we toss. But in those days, one could sit down. The social value. What brings these people together? That the occasion, the ceremonies. There are still those ceremonies. Yes, when we go to the Zulu, they have that ceremony every year, whereby they come together and they enjoy everything to the last bit of it. That is the social value. Then we have the moral value. The moral value here. Now, this moral value deals with the behaviors, the beliefs, the customs, individual oath, the moral value, the moral values. There are some values in Africa here that they are still kept till date. That wherever you move, you are not allowed to steal, to commit adultery. And wherever you could do so, you could go to they take you to a soothsayer, so that you can say that, no, I did it, oh, I never, yes, I did it, oh, I never did it. To keep that moral stature together. The moral value. The moral value. The moral value is also a core value in the African setting. That moral value that keeps the behaviors of a certain group of people committing adultery. Now, in Africa here, there is also may I call it magic? What do I need to call it? Whereby someone can bewitch you, and when you're having sex with his wife, the thingy remains inside. To teach you that adultery is not allowed. That is how things go on, move on, at reverse. Having heard of the moral, we are coming to the religious value. The religious value. Here, this value is not toyed with. Yes, it possesses the concept of supreme being, invisible, indigenous spirits. Now, when it comes to the religious value, the religious value as a value of culture, it is not toyed with. There are spirits that come in. And in some parts, they still believe that dead are not dead. The soul does not die. The soul does not die with the spirit. So what comes in, that the spirit is still living, and we think that the spirit will help others to help them out of different types of troubles and whatever. So when it comes to the religious aspect, the religious value, culture in Africa does not play with this religious value at any cost, because they are spirits, and these spirits are indigenous. Yes, when you go to East Africa, when you go to Uganda, they have what they call Nalubale, the Lake Victoria, Nalubale, where it is believed that all the spirits sit on that lake. So you don't just come in anyhow. So we believe that there is the good and the bad spirits. Yes, the bad spirits are still there, and also the good spirits are there. That is what we believe in Africa. Existence that a spirit make communication to being possible. Yeah, we still believe that spirits talk. specific people come out and say something. The political value here, in the political value, this shows the hierarchy and the governance of that society. And as culture in Africa, leadership begins from the home, the village head, the clan head, and finally to the supreme leader. The family head, the father, the village head, the clan head, and finally the king, the chief, and whatsoever. So that is the political value. Then the aesthetic value that consists of that fundamental traditional belief system, which production of arts mainly. That is the aesthetic, the way work is carved, the uniqueness of the woodwork in the West Africa, the East Africa, the northern part of South Africa is totally different. Then the economic value consists of cooperation, whereby we still believe that when my family we come together, the wife and the kids, we go and help the next family in the farm work. We also think that we have uplifted them a milestone, and also when we need that kind of help, they come back and also help us. That is what we believe here in Africa. So, a culture change in Africa and the problems of adjustment. Totally, culture has totally changed in Africa. Totally, culture has changed here in Africa and some parts of the world, and it has caused problems in Africa. Yes, I can say that it has caused many problems in Africa, because when we see now back to the political value, the hierarchy was from home. Family leader was the father, then the village the clan head, and then to the supreme. You'll find it that nowadays also women need control. The gender equality that came in brought in much disgrace in the family setting. So that is why you see that even nowadays women are coming in. Women now don't have that time for husbands. No, they have time for work. You will come out that a man will move out at 6. The lady is already out to the market at 4. Now there is no that time whereby someone could have the total respect to the family, the respect that we used to give to the supreme leaders. Now everyone has got a phone, everyone has got a camera. You can sit down and abuse a king, abuse a president in such a way. That brings me to my conclusion of today's episode about culture. So I request of you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, you are able to view our video. That was all about culture. And diving deeper into it, you may come down into the comment section, comment, throw more light, explain more on what culture means to you. Tell us your perception about culture. So go on and view our first video where we gave the introduction of the African setting. We talked about some bit of history, though we're going to throw on more light about it. Yeah, this is the African setting. Welcome to my channel. I thank you very much. May God bless you. Shalom. Let's explore Africa.